What's up, Fortnite fam? Welcome to day number 1 of the Stride Summer Camp Master Invitational featuring Fortnite. Out of an 8-week-long period, we are finally here. My name is Lash, joined alongside the one and only Applesauce Apples. Are you ready for this final 2-day journey?
I am so psyched, Lash. I mean, it's been a week or so, about 2 weeks since we've been on this channel watching these amazing players go to town and prove themselves to be in this final tournament. So I know everyone else is ready to start playing, but I mean, I'm excited. What about you?
Oh, I'm doing absolutely fantastic. I am pumped more so than ever right now because we have a stacked loadout of competition right now, Apples, and I gotta ask, out of favorites throughout all of the 8 weeks, who are you most kind of looking out to so far?
So, I'm gonna say it, because last week, we saw them come in. We hadn't seen them before, but Phantom and Iroh, they played like crazy last week, getting at least 1 win out of the 3 games. And, I mean, that's just something that you cannot ignore coming up against Callie and Foster. Callie was not able to play with his teammate Foster, so that kind of gave him a little bit of a different kind of playstyle there. But I also feel like we need to be watching Zazaz and Jax. Meet Your Makers, definitely a team that we need to see meet their makers. What about you, Lash?
Oh, no, you're definitely right. And that ought to be a standoff. The first 2 teams that you mentioned there is gotta be Phantom, Iroh. And, of course, our main dominant team throughout the entire 8 weeks. I mean, Phantom Iroh, they just bursted on the scene in week 8, you know, but we gotta focus on the main team of Foster and Callie, the team that has been the most dominant throughout the 8 weeks, and they're here with a massive gap lead. Now, granted, like you said, didn't win last week, but they were without a teammate. Now, they're back going toe-to-toe against the recent new team of Phantom Iroh.
Exactly. So I do think we have the standings for the last 8 weeks ready to show you guys so we can see a little bit where all the teams are at. And right up top, Callie and Foster are leading it. The POG champions at 475 points. Lash. Oh my gosh.
Oh my gosh is correct, Amundo. As, like you said, Meet Your Makers 227 there. They are just way on the back end, about 250. Math out of whack, but it's all good. Is the champ there in third, 164. A continuous placement warrior team that has squeaked their way into the top 3 over the 8 weeks. Now, reminder here, folks, the top 10 we see right now on our screen is not the teams that have qualified. We have about 30 teams total qualified, that including of all duos. So this competition is going to be massively stacked, just not even based on these leaderboards. Is a couple teams to look out for here on this leaderboard's got to be No Fear as well. We talked about it a little bit, as they're going to be able to make that rise to the top, hopefully maybe soon, because we've seen already a bunch of teams like Vic and Alec being able to make that progression throughout the 8 weeks, which is really exciting because they've also had that extra 1 week of preparation here, Apples.
Exactly, and another thing that we do need to mention is that today, points are doubled, and tomorrow, points are tripled. So anyone who really wants to take this, wants to show Callie and Foster that they're not the POG champions, they can do that if they just drop 20 bombs in every game that they play and get a victory royale. So definitely going to be something for these teams to be looking at. Maybe eliminations are the way to go and play a little bit for placement, but it's definitely going to be a bit of a balancing act for most of these teams who haven't really been able to maybe hit that 100-point mark or even 200-point mark, Lash.
Yeah, and you bring up a good point there. The balancing act between each of these teams, especially with more than ever teams in one lobby competing against each other, we get to see kind of that brawl out, not only between our top 2 teams over the last 2 weeks of Phantom, Iro, Foster, Cali, but also we get to see that brawl of POIs and locations on how exactly they're going to fight off, because the same strategies aren't going to work the same strategies that they worked before in the past weeks. And they're going to have to, I guess, maybe either stick to consistency to what they know or essentially develop the fastest.
Exactly. So these players have had about a week and a half to play to get their drop spots going, know exactly what their loadout's going to be. So I'm excited to see, especially Foster and Callie, if they decide to keep that drop spot that they've been having for the last 8 weeks over by the reality tree, or maybe if they decide to switch it up. I mean, it's always worked for them in the past whenever they go 3 for 3 on each week. So it's definitely going to be interesting. But Lash, I'm excited. I'm interested to hear what you think would probably be the most contested drop spot on this map, this tournament today.
I mean, I gotta go with Rave Cave. Arguably the most uncontested spot throughout the entire tournament so far. And now, in recent past 2-3 weeks, we saw Foster and Callie dropping in there, but I believe, like you said, they're going to be able to kind of revert back their strategy and stay a little bit more cautious on that left side of the island. However, when we did see them landing Rave Cave, we saw them pick up their best week so far with 3 victory royales and 38 total eliminations there in week number 7. So only 4 weeks removed from that. Do they stick to the same strategy that got them up to the top even farther, or do they kind of refrain back and, I guess you could say, refraining their W key and kind of waiting and pushing it off for the end game? Because even in that situation, it could work the same.
Yeah, definitely, because it's not really secured for them to be winning this tournament this weekend, because the points value are doubled. And there are a couple teams that are behind them that have the chance to be able to sneak up on them if they get enough victory royales today and tomorrow. And we do have 4 games for you guys today. We have 4 games. We usually have 3, so we have 1 extra. Another extra, that's another 30 points if you get a victory royale and a couple eliminations on there. So, and that's actually an extra 60 points because the points are doubled. So it's definitely anyone's game here. Anyone that decided today's the day, I'm going to go ham. I want that MSI laptop, because we also have to talk about the prizing, Lash. What are the prizes that these people need to be looking out for this Masters tournament?
Absolutely. The prizes are massive, but they're very minimal here in the top 3. So, out of the 30 total overall teams competing, they're going to be fighting for that first place MSI Katana G576 gaming laptop, an absolute beast. But for second and third is a $100 Amazon gift card, along in third place with a $50 Amazon gift card. So it'll be interesting to see how well these players kind of fight it out, because essentially we know our top 2 teams here heading into today, but I don't know, that squeaky third spot, or even maybe those top 2 could be kind of infiltrated a little bit, which could be very interesting to see.
I mean, I feel like the champ, since they've been, that team, Adam and the champ, they've been playing every single week. They've been getting consistent placement, gotten a couple elims here and there. I definitely feel like they are a shoo-in for at least that third place, because we've just seen so much consistency from that team, and maybe in this last couple weeks, it's been like, all right, you know what? We're gonna grind out this game. We're gonna get all of our Kingston. We're gonna know exactly where our drop spot's gonna be, so we're not contested, and we know exactly the loot that we want to get. So, Lash, if you were going in here, if you were playing, what was one piece of advice that you think that you need to give these players so they can play the best game of their lives?
Hey, it's all going to come down to time of development. So, I mean, personally, if I'm in here, I'm doing all the studying. All right, what exactly are the new updates going to bring in here? And I got to talk about it a little bit because today we got an update about new UFOs, or I guess you could say reintroduced UFOs along with reintroduced impulse grenades. Not shockwave grenades, as they are still in the playlist of Zero Build, but with these two kind of throw-ins of items, it feels kind of like OG back in the day type Fortnite, where you have these new updates kind of infiltrating the fold here in these moments where we now get to see how these teams are going to kind of reintroduce that development. So I'm excited to see how that moves in here.
Exactly. I definitely feel like impulses are going to be an item that you're going to be able to pick up just on the fly and use in those short form battles that you get into, because it is a no build tournament. You can't just build up a wall, get a ramp up, and move around your opponent. You're going to have to be using those movement items to get all the way around. So, Flash, we got to also talk one last thing. I mean, we're doing a fresh reset of all of the scores from the last week. So if you had like 400 points, just like how the Pog Champions had, you're starting at 0 here. So it's honestly anyone's game at this point. So starting at 0, who do you think is the most promising team? Callie and Foster? Any other teams that you're looking at, or are you going to stick with the OG?
I'm sticking with the OG. I can't refrain from my boys of Callie and Foster. They've just been too consistent throughout the entire time. I mean, you saw it there, folks, in the beginning. A 475 total point differential up towards the top. And honestly, I can't back down from that. They've been the most consistent. They've been able to develop, like I just mentioned there, through the strategies the entire time, whether it be riding the boars, driving the cars, or maybe today we see them hopping up in the UFO. So I gotta stick with them. But, I mean, who you going with, Apples?
I'm definitely gonna go with Phantom and Iroh. I mean, I've played with Phantom before. I said this a couple broadcasts earlier when we saw them pop into the scene, and that it's such a skilled player. And I mean, he's always carried me when I played, and we saw them like kind of kick a lot of butt last couple weeks. So I'm excited to see if they're gonna be able to do that again. And I mean, Callie and Foster, if they're together this week, I definitely feel like they have a lot of chances to be able to get that top victory royale spot that they've been pining at, that they've been getting these last couple of weeks. So is this going to be them adding 4 more victory royales underneath their belt for the Stride summer camp? I don't know.
You know, it very well could be. I'm gonna be real. It very well could be. I mean, you know, they pop out in week 8, and then they burst onto the scene in the Masters Invitational here in day 1. I mean, reminder, folks, there is 2 days, so no need to fret here. So whoever pops off here in day number 1 is basically just gonna be needing to keep up that consistency. That way, nobody else behind them tracks up their back. But I mean, I don't know. It's tough. You make up a good point there about Phantom and Iroh, how they're going to be able to, I guess, rise to the occasion after those 3 victory royales they had in week number 8. But based off of their strategy we saw, it was W key primarily there. And now, do you think they're going to switch it up there off of the Jonas's W key style?
I honestly think at this point, at the beginning of a series of a tournament, we do see a bit of a pattern from players. They start off a little bit more passive, and then in the middle games they get a little bit more W keyed. You know, they're going up, they're getting into more fights because they're saying, all right, I did okay in the first round, but I want to do a little bit better these next couple games. And then in the third and the fourth game, we usually see them get really aggressive with these other players. So I do think that they could also be trying to go against that. They could be like, all right, everyone's going to be trying to play a little bit passive in this first game, except for Callie and Foster. So I definitely feel like Phantom and Iroh, they could be trying to go in that middle ground route. They're not going to play completely passive. They're going to know how to use comms, move around the map, get a good rotate to see that they can place correctly and get a good spot in that end circle. So they just have a little bit of an advantage over Callie and Foster, because Callie and Foster, the way that they've gotten pinched before is because they got kind of juked out of a really good rotate. They usually get low ground at that point, but they do also have really good comms as well. They're able to rotate out of some terrible, some difficult situations before. So just gonna be interesting. I'm really excited to start watching this game.
Oh yeah, the hype is just rising. Don't worry, it's just the beginning, if you will, here. But I gotta point out one team that is kind of a wild card, and I'm gonna ask you the same question. But first, I gotta bring up Mizen and Tommy, a team that was very successful in the first half, but after kind of locking in their qualification throughout the first half, they kind of took their foot off the gas pedal completely. They were like, all right, we're just going in neutral mode here, and we're not going to try anymore. They didn't even compete in the second half of week number 5 through 8. So do you think that, I guess, break in between is going to affect some players because of recency bias? I like Mizen and Tommy based off of their performance through the first half, but I don't know. It's kind of difficult to predict that, I guess you could say.
It's definitely difficult to predict when you haven't seen a player play in a little bit of a minute. You don't know if they've actually been grinding no builds or if they've been trying to do more competitive scene stuff where build battles have been starting to come back out in the Fortnite competitive scene. We've seen a lot of just lightning cups that aren't no builds. So definitely going to be interesting to see if players have been trying to play no builds in their off time. It definitely is a completely different game, no builds and builds. But I mean, I feel like these last couple weeks, people have been really hyped about the MSI laptop, so they're going to be trying to get that #1 spot if they are playing today. So, I mean, I'm excited to see this. I hope we have about, like, you know, a 30-team lobby. I think that would be really interesting, really exciting to see. But before we get there, we do want to give a shout out to our sponsors, MSI. You guys rock. You've been sponsoring us for these entire 8 weeks and this Masters tournament, giving all of our players some amazing gear. They got mouses, they got keyboards, a headset, and monitors for every week 4 winners. So thank you so much, MSI. You guys rock.
Big time facts. I mean, MSI, you guys are just absolute legends, no matter what it may be, through products, support in the chat, support on the socials. You guys have just been absolute amazing throughout and being, honestly, just the best partners. So a special shout out to MSI there. But we got to kind of talk again, like you kind of hinted there, towards the game mode, zero build. Now, we've been watching it, obviously, throughout the past 8 weeks, but now we get to see it at a maximum lobby potential possibly here. And do you think, as far as zero build strategy is going to go, based off of what you've seen, based off of essentially what you've VOD reviewed, do you think, I don't know, strategy based off of shockwaves and cars essentially will be able to change a bit more based off of that factor?
I definitely feel that is definitely going to happen because there's going to be a lot more players in lobbies, a lot more drop spots contested, and not all the items that you're used to be seeing in the smaller lobbies that we've had early in the summer are going to be there. I mean, someone could get that grapple glove before you, so you're not going to be able to use that movement item, just like how Callie and Foster have been dropping in the same spot to be able to get that same exact grappler glove. So with a larger lobby, there's going to be less items for less people, so it just really depends on who gets to those crates first, those chests first, everything first. So, I mean, it's going to be interesting. I'm excited to see if anyone decides to hop in that battle bus and use those cannons across the map. I mean, I'm really excited, Lash. Okay. What is your favorite movement item in the game?
Shockwaves. There's no doubt about that. Shockwaves. What about yourself, though?
Oh. Does it need to be in the game right now?
Go for it.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm gonna also say shockwaves.
It's an easy pick, but I gotta give you maybe, possibly, an easy pick in here. I know you already gave your prediction. Phantom Iroh, we're already rolling with it. I'm going Foster Callie. But here we go, ladies and gentlemen. This is game #1. Let's jump right into that battle bus.
Let's go. I'm so excited. It looks like Callie and Foster are kind of landing in a bit of a different spot than usual, Lash.
Hey, just a bit. They were talking to me a bit before how they were developing new strategies around this area, and I think we're beginning to see it just a bit. You can already see they're dropping in on the saplings right next to each other here. Already mythic loot. Notice they're going for that mythic hammer assault rifle, which we have seen come into play massively throughout Zero Build's history so far. And already we're seeing even lower grade weapons of that hammer assault rifle coming into play to get out one elimination of Chaos Turtle down here at Synapse Station. It's a little bit contested. And hey, Alec and Mom out here just vibing. Elim's flowing out. Easy peasy, lemon squeezy.
They're vibing, they are flowing, and they're already at 4 eliminations here. Mom and Alec kind of popping off over by Synapse, and it looks like they're the only players here. The only other ones would be NPCs if you're looking at your map on the lower right side. And you know what? This is great. I'm excited. We're seeing a little bit more of a front runners here. We're seeing Callie and Foster not being the first players to get 4 eliminations in the lobby. So, bit of an interesting thing there, but looks like we're gonna have to check in with them a little bit later. Foster and Callie keeping up the same kind of loadout that we've seen them get time and time again. I mean, it's worked for them so far. Might as well keep it up and bring it on into town at this point.
Yeah, exactly. And that's what we talked about as far as consistency goes. For Foster and Callie, they have legit been the kings of consistency throughout the entirety of this series, and now they're pretty much just getting started of picking up right where they left off here. And like we said and mentioned, they're back as a duo. The band's back in town here for the Masters, and now they're just out here on their own different kind of route. So, do you think, based off of what we've seen so far on gameplay-wise, do you think this is going to continue on here? Because we've already seen 2 teams differentiate their strategies.
This is gonna be interesting to see. I mean, I haven't seen Foster and Callie do anything different than what they've been doing the last 8 weeks. So excited to see if they're gonna be able to keep up that same drop spot. If just another team that hasn't really planned their drop spot lands in that same spot and they decide to contest them. So, I mean, it looks like Phantom and Iroh here are keeping it up at the Joneses. Got a pretty solid load out there. And Phantom is stocked up with some porta forts as well. And I mean, this is gonna be interesting to see. I'm rooting for Phantom and Iroh here. They're my pick. I think that they have the most skills in this lobby to be able to go up against Callie and Foster. But I could be wrong. There could be another team in there that we haven't seen too much of yet. But we're gonna have to see. We can see that Iroh and Phantom don't have any eliminations compared to Callie and Foster, but Alec and Mom did.
Yeah, they had those 4 elims early off spawn, and so far, they're the leading team. Based off of getting those 4 eliminations, that means plus 2 points. And honestly, it's looking mighty good for them so far. But, hey, can we talk about keeping up with the Jonases right now? Because it's Iroh and Phantom. They're looking to get these elims. They have Apple. Hey, wait, hold up. Wait a minute.
Aww.
Apples, you're just out here getting destroyed. Got a shockwave. 20 HP out in the open. Iroh tries to hit the shots, but Apple's looking like maybe the getaway.
Yep, it looks like I'm gonna have to close out my Fortnite application. Sorry about that, guys. Did not mean to join up in the game. But, I mean, Iroh and Phantom, that's another elimination on the board for them, their first elimination. And I think that was a solo team at that point. So maybe they're gonna see it. Maybe that'll feed them in. Maybe that'll give them a little bit of incentive to start looking for other ones. But it looks like Alec and Mom have gotten a combined 6 eliminations. I mean, this is almost all the eliminations that are in the lobby right now, Lash.
Yeah, I mean, we mentioned it a bit in pre-show of this team of Alec and Mom. I mean, I don't know, they got a little bit something different, and they're coming in with a bit of a different entourage, and I'm absolutely loving it so far. 6 elims already on the board here, and 9 players remaining, and we've seen this story before here, Apples. Do you think that it can keep up here? Meanwhile, I mean, Foster and Callie, they're taking a bit of that progressive position that like I kind of mentioned. I was like, I don't know, do they play this a little bit farther back and play for more placement? Because, I mean, placement technically is worth a little bit more.
I mean, I feel like if Callie and Foster are not able to clutch up this first game, they're definitely going to be coming back in the second game with a lot more fire. So maybe this is just their chill game. Gonna see who else in the lobby has kind of played as much as I can the last couple weeks, get their skill levels up. But looks like they're moving their way on the other side of the Daily Bugle. Not too many people on the map right now. There's only 7 other players, excluding Callie and Foster. So it doesn't look like they're going to be running into too much trouble, especially in the mini-map. You can only see that there's just a couple NPCs around here. So moving across the Daily Bugle, going to go on the other side and move towards the temples at this point. Maybe going to just try and get bit of a high ground spot, so they're going to be able to see if any other players are running out towards them, but we're going to have to check in with them later. It looks like Alec and Mom have gotten another elimination, and there's a couple other players coming into Sleepy Sound trying to get another elimination on them as well.
Zazaz and Jax have taken over the abundance of confidence right now. I don't think they necessarily know the team right below them is there, Mom and Alex. So Zazaz and Jax are gonna kind of scoot out of here with a little bit of a deep breath, fresh air, as I don't know, Apples. 8 elims already on the board for Alec and Mom. It is looking like the tides have somehow shifted in the direction of them, at least for now. They haven't ran into our 2 big dog teams, at least quite yet. However, look who's on the prowl. It's gonna be Foster. This is gonna get interesting here, Apples.
Yeah, the vibes here are definitely a little bit different. Callie and Foster are playing on the more passive defensive side, not really gonna try and go in and, try and get too many eliminations onto other players, but it looks like Foster thinks these players are downstairs when they are most definitely upstairs above him. So, gonna be able to see what's happening here as some... Whoa. Flash, what's happening?
Nah, that was big brain from Foster to toss down the overabundance above them of the insanity. What in the world was that play there? Foster thought it was a good play to toss it down, but unfortunately, it caught them down in the back foot. Callie gets the damage down, however, now he gets a knock on to Mom, so he's able to keep himself alive, at least for the time being. Able to capitalize on that knock here. However, Alec now jumping down on his left side. Callie has to be careful around here. Damage coming through. Shot for shot, blow for blow. Coming around that side. He gets the final bit of damage onto him, but couldn't outlast it. And now you have Zazaz and Jax on the W key.
I did not even realize that they were holding junk rifts there. That was definitely a W play from them, but did not work out in the end for Callie and Foster. Alec and his teammate getting another elimination, but Zazaz and Jax here trying to go up on their Portafort, but they're already outside of Sleepy Sound. They have evacuated the dance floor at this point. So we're gonna have to see if Zazaz and Jax gonna be able to catch up with them later, but it looks like they have left. They just decided to peace out.
Hey, I mean, they no longer had a chance to get Boogie. No more Boogie bombs anymore. It was all junk rifts, and they didn't want the junk no more. They were like, nah, it's time to get out of here. There's no more dancing around this floor right now, but the entire floor is wide open because our main dog teams of Callie and Foster are now down, leaving Zazaz, Jax, Alec, Mom. Many teams still alive here, left to clutch up around this top spot, including one of those being Phantom and Iro, your team on the sky base, as they're just kind of out here on the Portafort, practically a sky base up here at the top mountain.
Yeah, you know what? This is a pretty solid position for this team. They're going to be able to see every single person that comes in, going to be able to get some marks on other teams, some teammates, maybe a couple eliminations if they're able to time it a little bit correctly, but they have such an advantage on this spot. They're going to be able to see every single person there, and it looks like they also have the burst ARs. They're also gonna hit the gritty, it looks like. Phantom hitting the gritty, he's ready to go, and looks like Alec here right now is stuck in the storm in Sleepy Sound. Gonna try and get that reboot for his teammate, it seems, but it looks like Zazaz and their teammate or just stalking outside of Sleepy Sound, waiting for him to come out because they want that elimination. They know that he's still in here at this point, Slash.
Yeah, they know he's still lurking there. Now, as the third zone reveals itself, it's not quite moving in yet. We still have a minute until it starts moving. As Jax and Zazaz are going to have to get bored at some point. They know one duo is still out there in the abyss somewhere of the island. But they know that the solo is more important right now to find that elimination. 2 points will be massive for them. And if they can especially hear these chug splashes being popped in the back end by Alec, they are going to W key even harder right now. As Zazaz tries to maybe find some different kind of heals, as I think they might be staying out here, Apples.
Yeah, I mean, they had the storm pole for just a minute, but now they're gonna have to get moving and move around this mountain. And I mean, this is definitely a way that you could play the game, just kind of stalk the person that you know is in there. But they could also be wasting their time if Alec just gets eliminated in the storm. So looks like they're gonna be moving their way, and they see Phantom and Iroh up on their sky base, and they're deciding to start getting some shots on that porta-fort. But I mean, it looks like they're also returning some shots as well, as Zazaz moving backwards, a little bit wounded at 6 shield, 100 health. He's gonna have to go and figure out how to heal as Alec gets that reboot on his teammate.
Oh no.
Oh.
Alec is down. Now leaving Mom out into the skies. Meanwhile, Zazaz and Jax know exactly what they need to do. They take up height. Free, easy beams. That is the final solo out of the lobby. And now, here we go, Apples. The 2v2. This is the moment where we see the classic duos going against each other of Zazaz, Jax, and Phantom, and Iroh, which have the biggest advantage right now on high ground with that porta-fort.
Yeah, they're definitely going to have to rotate around or get some more porta-forts to be able to fortify up that wall, because it looks like Zazaz and Jax are just going to be trying to get some shots on them, or on their walls, but it looks like Zazaz was hit down to 12 health. 12 health from Phantom and Iroh from that far away, and then knocked by Phantom. You know what? Jax is here. He sees them. He sees Phantom moving. He's gonna try and get some shots on him. Phantom's gonna go right up north, right by Jackson. Gonna have to shockwave around him at this point. Gonna try and get some shots on each other. Jax and Iroh right up front. Phantom gets the last elimination on Zazaz, and they claim that victory royale for our first game for the Stride Summer Esports Masters Tournament.
Just an insane start from Phantom and Iroh there. All throughout all spawn, they were like, all right, we know our plan. Let's jump on high ground no matter what, no matter how many elims we can get. They weren't like Alec and Bomb there, where they were just full-on W key and then trying to hold on to a thread that they couldn't necessarily handle in those final moments. So big shouts there to Phantom and Iroh. Your predictions to winning game number 1, Apples.
Thank you, thank you. I really appreciate it. But I am also excited to see the points once we come back to see who is in that top spot. Because, yeah, Phantom and Iroh did claim that victory royale, but they only got a couple eliminations when Alec and Mom got like 8 or 9. I mean, they were kind of on my radar, but they played pretty well. I really saw them get a victory royale in the last 8 weeks. So, I mean, maybe they're just going to have to change their strategy for the next couple of games, Slash.
Most definitely, but we'll have to find out where those leaderboards stands and where exactly these teams are going to go here. So don't go anywhere here, folks, because we'll be right back after this short break. Welcome back, Fortnite fam, here today, number 1 of the Stride Summer Camp Master Invitational featuring Fortnite. As after a pretty interesting game number 1 here, Apples, the tides have shifted quite massively.
I mean, I would have to say that. I mean, we said in the beginning of the pre-show, Callie and Foster has been kind of the POG champions of the Stride Summer Tournament. This whole summer, they've been getting a lot of wins, lots of eliminations. They've been a really aggressive pair. But this last game, we saw them go down, I think, 4th or 5th with just a couple of eliminations when a couple other teams really showed their style. I mean, Iroh and Phantom, they got that victory royale, and they kept that high ground just like we've seen Callie and Foster do in weeks before, Lash.
Yeah, most definitely. I mean, taking home that VR based off of patience was an interesting thing to see because the patience from Foster and Callie didn't work, yet the patience from Phantom and Iroh did work. Meanwhile, the kind of middle of the pack teams from 2nd and 3rd of Zazaz, Jackson, Alec, and Mom both performed very well based off of aggression, though 2 elims for Zazaz, Jax. That one little bit of placement was the pretty much only difference, but the base of aggression came from Alec and Mom with 8 elims.
Yeah, they got 8 eliminations. They did go down 3rd place. They kind of played a little bit too hard, too fast. That got into a couple situations that they probably didn't want to. Got pinched by a couple players. But I feel like this next game they may try and W key again. Maybe they want to go for that placement score. And not for that placement score, for those elims, not just those placement scores. So I'm excited to see this second game. It's when players start to get a little bit more amped up, a little bit more excited. Their nerves are kind of gone. They've gotten all shaken from the first game, so maybe they're just comfortable in this lobby. Or maybe we'll see a couple other players join as well.
And I must say, you're feeling good prediction-wise on Phantom and Iroh, and I'm kind of a little bit questionable because talking to Foster and Callie leading up to today, it basically seemed like they felt very confident based off of their new strategies, but based off of what we've been seeing, it doesn't quite fit their style. Now, granted, they've been able to stick to the route of going through the saplings, but right now, it seems to be, like I said, off of their kilter of style, if you will, and now it's like, all right, do they go back to strategy? Because overall, there's total 8 games. 4 today, 4 tomorrow. You do have time to kind of, I guess you could say, test a strategy, especially at the skill level of Callie and Foster. But at the moment, it's kind of like, this is a bit risky.
I mean, it is definitely a bit risky, but I'm missing how they played in the last weeks of the tournament. Like, I mean, I really loved seeing them go to the same exact spot, get all of their guns, those legendary weapons, the hammer, AR, and the grappling glove, and just moving straight to where the circle is. And I love seeing that. Love seeing them just drop entire lobbies full of eliminations. So I think it'd be really interesting to see. But we do have standings for you guys. We are ready to show you exactly where everyone is at points-wise for this tournament. Let's go.
Here we go as we take a look here. Now, reminder here, folks, all points are doubled here. So, for what you're used to seeing point-wise has instantly been upticked based off of that usual 14 placement status based off of point-wise and then 1 point per elimination. It is now instantly, boom, you're doubled off of point-wise, and no fear, automatically first place based off of elims just pretty much taking over the top. And right here, that is Alec and Mom, the team that picked up 8 eliminations. Meanwhile, Phantom and Iro, aka Phantom and Friend right there in second at 24 points. So far, we're seeing a massive differential based off of aggression and placement. And boy, oh boy, is it shining here, Apples.
Oh my gosh, it definitely is, because you get about 10 points from Victory Royale in the normal rounds, but right now it is 20 points. So Phantom and Friend right at 24. They're going to have to buckle up the next couple games and try and drop as many eliminations as they can if they want to jump over No Fear, because the gameplay that Alec and Mom showed us in that first game shows us that they are ready to go. They want that laptop, and they are not going to back down. Other players that should also do the same as everyone else on this leaderboard, especially Pog Champions and Meet Your Makers. I mean, we're just seeing a bit of a flip from a lot of these players. I mean, Flash, what was the most, I mean, I guess not upsetting, but like, oh, that's interesting. I didn't realize that they were going to do that today, kind of thing that you saw in this last game.
I must say, there probably isn't one of those teams for real, to be quite honest, because every single team here in the top 4 is one of the teams that we talked about in the pre-show and highlighted teams throughout the 8 weeks. Meanwhile, we had Zazaz Jax, a very good team that showed out best in the first half. And then we have teams, of course, like Phantom Iro, teams that went up towards the top in the very final parts. And then you even have teams like Alec and Mob, literally team that has been improving the most from week number 1 to week number 8. So you have a very good balance right now, but I wouldn't say there's necessarily someone at the top that has kind of taken me back as surprise-wise.
Okay, I understand where you're coming from, but I'm also going to disagree with you. I feel like Callie and Foster, they played completely different. We did talk about this just a little bit earlier. They played completely different to their normal play style, and I wonder if that's going to force them to decide to make a different move in this next game. But a team that did not really deviate from what we've seen them do would be Phantom and Iro. They were able to move around, not get too many eliminations, but position themselves exactly where they need to be for the storm, be able to see everyone that's coming towards them, get that high ground, get eliminations, and honestly come out with that win. So gonna be interesting to see if they keep that up, if they're deciding to move it around, shift it around, maybe move over to Shifty Shafts, get some Logjam Lotus up in there, go a little bit southeast, maybe towards Condo Canyon. We have seen a lot of drop maps there, so I'm interested to see this.
Yeah, it's gonna be nice to see, especially to see how these teams adapt. It's not quite that 12-game FNCS finals type beat, -4 games essentially. Reel it back here, especially in Zero Build as well. You get to see essentially what these teams are going to be able to derive most, because that's the special thing about Zero Build compared to standard Fortnite competitive gameplay, is that you really get to see the lens of a team straight through, no matter what, in pretty much an instant. You get to see exactly what they're about and what they bring to the table. And you could easily tell in the beginning they're special of Callie and Foster, but then you see kind of, I guess, a remaking of the story and how these players throughout the 8 weeks have put up that grind. So, I mean, do you have a team here today that can maybe hit that wild card spot in the top 3 overall?
I think it's going to be Champ and Adam. We have seen them be so consistent for all of these games, and I think they're about 6th place right now, or 5th. And honestly, if another team just kind of, and doesn't really play as well as they need to, I feel like they could totally beef it up if they play as passively as they have and play for placement, get that 2nd place that we've seen them get before in tournaments. They just are able to camp in trash cans, and they're honestly such a great team to be able to hide, because no one really expects them coming. They're like, where are they? They're in the trash can. That's where they're at. So I definitely feel like the champ and Adam can totally make it up, get that 3rd place spot. But I mean, we're gonna have to see. Maybe some other players will throw in some junk riffs, just like we saw in that last game, which was absolutely wild.
Yeah, you bring up a magnificent point there based off of the junk riffs, and I do want to kind of bring into play, based off of new loadouts, and we kind of talked about it in pre-show a little bit, is how exactly are they going to affect these teams and how they bring it into play? Because we obviously saw the Junk Rifts go a minus back for a team like Foster and Cali. When they thought it down, they were like, all right, easy beams, we're going to be able to smoke them out of this house. Nope, you were welcomed into big two-shot shotgun shots right to your dome. And they pretty much got back-footed off. And I think it was because they weren't used to utilizing those items. So is it kind of a ever-changing position that, hey, like we mentioned, based off of evolution in this period, you need to adapt the fastest?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, maybe they just weren't playing the last couple of days with this new update and they just hopped in today and they saw them. They're like, that looks cool. But I definitely feel like this next game, they're either going to know exactly what they're doing. Maybe they're playing a game right now before they get into the lobby just so they know what's happening, hopping into a creative map just to see how it works, what the mechanic is. But if they're not doing that, I don't think we're going to even see Callie and Foster probably have the Junk Rifts later in this tournament, unless they've learned their lesson and they're like, ooh, that's not just something you throw into a building when you think people are there.
Yeah, definitely not. That is definitely not an item you can mess with almost instantly. We only had the Junk Rift in the game at one point, and now it's back in the returning, kind of in the field. But, Apples, I gotta get your prediction for this game. Who are you feeling? Are you feeling that back-to-back VR?
I am definitely feeling that back-to-back VR. I definitely think Phantom and Iroh can pull this off, get this this second Victory Royale. And honestly, we have so many more games too. They could get all four. I'm just saying, I could throw some money on it. I don't know.
I don't know about quite that. You know, that's a bit far. But I'm gonna hold off with my boys Foster and Cali right now. I'm feeling a different pattern right now, and it appears the ocean tides are changing a bit, and the storm is coming in. Alec and Mom, one of the most improved teams in the entire series. I believe they're going to be able to rise to the occasion after a great start in game number 1. But here, folks, now is the time where we get to find out. Let's jump straight in to that battle bus.
Let's go. We're starting off with Phantom and Iroh here, moving towards the Joneses. This has been their spot last game, and looks like they're keeping on it on this game as well. No one else is really contesting them, so kind of a hog move for them. But yes, we're gonna see them get some all the items that they need. We're gonna move over to Mom and Alec here over at Synapse Station. We can see that there is another team here as well. This could also be where they were able to get all of their early elims last game. It looks like they've already downed a player at this point. Got local iron here. I mean, that's another one on the board for Alec.
I'm telling you, they're in the business of getting elims, and business is good. For Mom and Alec, early off spawn, Fear in the distance, in the sight line, and Mom gonna look to take the shots. That revolver hitting absolutely insane damage early off spawn, able to pick up that elimination, and even with the burst, the opposing player, Fear, just wasn't able to capitalize. So, very big off spawn here for Mom and Alec.
Yep, already at 2 eliminations. We're able to see how they were able to do this last game. I'm really liking this early game action from Mom and Alec. They're really... this is definitely an interesting team to be looking at. They've been under the radar the last couple weeks of the tournament, and they haven't really been like Victory Royale winners. They haven't been like the most elimination getters, but they've also been like the underdogs that we haven't really seen get too many points up on the board. So, I mean, it's been a really great journey for us to watch, and I'm excited to see how far they go in today's tournament. But today, we're going to move back over to Zazaz and Jack, another team that has been improving steadily as well. And it looks like they are over by the Joneses as well, so that could also spell some trouble for them. But they also have a grappler glove, which is definitely going to be helping their movement towards the inner circle. But there's also a rift that they're going to be able to use, move out towards some other movement areas and just fly over. See, look at the beautiful, I mean, Fortnite scenery that we're looking at right now.
I mean, the Fortnite scenery is honestly always beautiful. I mean, how can you not love it, to be honest? But I mean, like you mentioned, for Jax and Zazaz. I do believe in this team a lot here to kind of bounce back because they did find themselves in that third place spot here at the moment. So I'm liking it, right? They had the strats developed, but you know what I noticed here? I don't see Foster and Callie. I think
There they are.
yes, they did. They have switched back to their original strategy, which they started from week number 1 to week number 5 here. And they're going back to their grassroots apples. And, you know, I might be regretting now not picking.
I mean, they got the Fortnite Balenciaga hoodies on, so they're ready to spend some money, maybe get some extra ammo at some other vending machines later on in the tournament. But it looks like they're going to be rifting over to the Rave Cave. Definitely an interesting POI to be using, but looks like they're going to be moving around. Not go towards the Rave Cave. They could have some saplings over here, but it does look like they already have their legendary weapons, so they're going to be moving around, rotating around. But we're seeing Phantom and Iroh here moving up north away from the Joneses towards the shrines, and we can see that there is another team over there. There is Zazaz and Jax. That may spell some trouble for them in just a little bit if they do not keep themselves hidden as they need to be, or maybe it'll spell some trouble for Zazaz and Jax.
Hey, you gotta be careful as far as W King goes, especially if you're Iroh and Phantom, because they tried it once before, and it worked. But now we get to see how they find that balance, because they pretty much teeter-tottered based off of aggression and passiveness as far as week number 8 and now here in day number 1 of the Master Invitational. And I don't know. It's interesting based off of their strategies. They've been playing it, and now, hey, they find the Elam on Apple again. Well, that's the second time Apple's gone down on spawn, and now to the hands of Phantom and Iroh, I mean, they'll take that free Elam, and it looks like, is that the start of their aggression here, Apples?
That could be the start of their aggression, or that could be the start of them saying, all right, we're on the board. People saw that we eliminated someone, so they may be coming for us, because Foster and Callie are going to be trying to get some knocks onto some players here. But, I mean, they are kind of in a bit of an exposed position right here. If anyone just peeps over the hill and sees them right here, they could easily take any shots that they want on them. And it looks like Zazaz was doing the same thing. They are right down on the south part of the mountain here, right into Shuffled Shrines, and it looks like we could get a Shuffled Shrines battle if any players get in there and kind of get trapped in that bit of a maze that we have there, Lash.
Hey, we've seen this battle before here for Iroh and Phantom, and literally, like we just mentioned, in week number 8. But now, do they take that same exact push? It appears they just kind of peeked in, and they maybe saw that team disengaging there on the back foot, and now they're like, all right, we don't want a part of this battle. We're going to take the back foot off of here. But for Phantom, knowing his great aim, he's like, all right, you know what? Let me get a couple tags, back up out of here. I just wanted a free P. I'm gonna get out of this battle. You could go on your ways, but I'll take my nice little free little tag, and granted, that's only going to hit the overshield part. But for Phantom, I think it's a bit of part of the ego right now.
It could just be like, hey, I kind of want to make you just a little bit intimidated. And you know what? I'm going to hit you for 50 shield, and you're going to have to use all of your meds to try and get that up. And now I've exposed you, and you're going to have to run away and find some other place where you can get some shield. But Phantom and Iroh, they're going to stick up on this hill that they've been at for a while, but it looks like Alec and Mom could also be moving into that same location as well, as we can see the storm in the distance is starting to rumble. Players are getting forced towards the center of the map, and looks like Alec and Mom are going to be moving to oh, look at that beautiful fireworks demonstration that we're seeing here, Lash.
Ah, yes. It's just the glorious Fortnite Island at its peak right now as we get to see the beautiful fireworks. We get to relax out here on this hot summer day. I mean, it is the summer camp after all, and you know, you gotta have a little bit of vibes around here. But Callie and Foster, they want a part of the fighting vibes right now, and now we get to see the toe-to-toe between the top 2 teams of week number 8. Of Foster and Callie and Iroh and Phantom, both going port-to-fort to port-to-fort against each other, toe-to-toe. And at the moment, it's looking like a good advantage right now for Phantom and Iroh as they're getting free beams.
Yeah, it definitely. I will have to say, it has been a really interesting battle so far for Callie and Foster. We haven't really even seen them play this passive. We're not really seeing them act on their confidence as much. Just kind of not really sure exactly where to go. They haven't played with Phantom and Iroh for a couple weeks, and they only played. I mean, Foster only played with Phantom and Iroh, so Callie maybe also be a little bit nervous for this game. They haven't really loosened up their arms, maybe shook out their hands a little bit, give a little kind of just vibing out so they're not super nervous and wound up for this battle right now. I could feel the tension through the screen. They're just like, I don't know exactly where I need to go. And I think that's definitely affecting their gameplay. So, I mean, to get to that spot where they are above the heads of Phantom and Iroh, they're going to have to use the smarts that they've been having for the last 8 weeks to be able to get those rotates around them.
Yeah, most definitely. And did I hear that right? I mean, come on, chat. You guys can play along with me here. Did I hear that correctly? The I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Was that a bird or was that a weapon? I don't know the difference at this point. Like, all right, for Iroh, right? The auto shotgun. What's the sound effect for the auto here? All right. Great impression.
Thank you.
Y'all heard it here first. Apples is the greatest Fortnite weapon impersonator of all time. It's just the proof is in the pudding.
I'm a voice actor. I mean, that's what I'm doing right now. I'm acting with my voice, but also casting. I mean, we're doing this together. We're commentating on this game. We're casting, and Phantom and Iroh are rotating around. Their backs are to the storm, and no one is there. Who is moving out that they're trying to get eyes on? No one's there, but they're just trying to get all of their bases covered so they don't get, juked around by other players. And we can see that there is about one team that's in the lower left corner of their screen, but that's definitely not going to be a problem for them. They're going to be able to rotate around there. But this is another team that we haven't seen. It looks like Alec is about to get that elimination right on there to Sonic Star Gaming. I mean, they've already gotten 3 eliminations this game. Definitely not up to par with their last game, but they could be playing a little bit more passively, a little bit more carefully since they are in the first spot. They want to get that placement point, maybe get that victory royale this game, and that's what they're trying to do. They're not trying to W key every single player that they see, Lash.
A 1, a 2, that's 3. 3 eliminations early out here in the early game. Now shifting into that early game period as 8 elims last game. 3 elims already early here, with 6 opposing players still left alive. Well, they have the chance to, I guess you could say, raise the bar above their last game, but I guess we'll have to find out after one battle could possibly brew here, as Iroh and Phantom are just peeking around trying to find that little bit of overhill kind of peak right now to try and take the shots. And all of a sudden here, Apples, they've caught Foster and Callie off of Kilter. And at the moment, Iroh already getting a knock on a Foster. But hold up, wait a minute. Jump drifts are now thrown into play.
Yep, it looks like Callie tried to get the last-minute junk rift onto Phantom and Iroh's Fortifort there, but Phantom's going to be able to get these shots on the bus that's right next to them, moving them out of there. Foster gets knocked down by Iroh, and Callie's only left player here. I mean, Callie, you're going to have to rotate very far away from here so you can get a bit of an angle on Phantom and Iroh because they know exactly where you are. They know where you went. You just shockwaved over there, so you have a lot. You have a target on your back. So, I mean, Phantom and Iroh, they're probably going to stick in this spot. Well, Callie is going to, shockwave away, and Phantom and Iroh are going to try and get some long-range shots. They see that Callie is leaving in a car. They're piecing out. They are leaving, evacuating.
Yeah, Man is out of here. He doesn't want any part of Phantom and Iroh right now, and honestly, respect to that decision, because Phantom and Iroh were just able there one step ahead of them, and that's been the story developed all day long so far. Callie and Foster have stepped into today 1 step behind, 2 steps behind, 3 steps behind, and all of a sudden it's become a marathon, and now they need to try and find their way back up to that top of the race finish. And Zazaz and Jax are one of those teams that is kind of holding that spot, as they're like a Usain Bolt, essentially just bolting ahead to the race line. And like I said, it's a marathon. This is not a sprint. It's not a 400 meter right now. Nah, you've got to go the whole 26 miles. And for a team like Jackson Zazaz, so far, it's a good start. But positioning-wise, I think they're looking to keep it up here.
Yeah, it definitely looks like they saw what Phantom and Iroh did last game, and they decided to not copy them, but see what they do. Try out the formula that team did to be able to get that win, and it looks like Callie is kind of sitting in a bush right now. They're a solo. Maybe they're going to run and grab a reboot if they're going to be able to make it in the storm, but they've also exposed themselves to Zazaz and Jax. Definitely not a great place to be pinched in, but we haven't really seen Callie play as a solo. We usually only see Foster play as a solo, so this is going to be interesting to see if Zaza is going to grapple flub all the way over to Callie, and Callie's trying to heal up in this bush right now, but Zaza says, nuh-uh, you're not moving. Callie shockwaving around. Callie's dropped down to 50 health, then gets eliminated straight there by Jackson. That's it for Callie and Foster for game 2.
Down early again. You gotta be kidding me. Foster and Callie, their new strategy swapping back and forth has all of a sudden dissipated. Their consistency has gone and been long gone already so far, 2 games into the race. But now we get to focus on how these 3 teams alive right now, one being Alec and Mom, who had taken out of, like we mentioned earlier, 8 eliminations in the first game. Didn't even win that game either. They got 3rd place, which, granted, good placement. However, tagged alongside those elims being massively key now, all of a sudden with the double points, this is the point of attack where Alec and Mom are practically, I'd say, looking the best so far.
Yeah, definitely. They're going to probably try and play for placement this game. Just go and get as many points as they can because they've already really secured themselves with those 8 eliminations in this last game. So they may do a game where they're really aggressive and then a passive game, play for placement. Really aggressive, then passive, play for placement in the last game. That's definitely a strategy that you could be doing for the 4 different games that we have. But it looks like they do have eyes on Jackson Zazaz. But it looks like Mom does not want to reveal himself super quickly. But downs Jax there, right there. Alex coming around, trying to get some knocks onto Zazaz, gets the elimination. The team is out of the park.
Oh!
Looks like Alex just got hit out into the storm from Iroh and Phantom here.
My goodness, the beautiful tree play coming in there from Phantom and Iroh. However, they're split at the moment, but that doesn't make the difference between Beans and all of a sudden a protective Porta Fort has been thrown down. Now it's all the matter of, is that in zone? And based off of what we can see from Phantom's POV down there on the mini-map, they're not quite in zone, at least yet based off of that Porta Fort, but the edge might just be quite kept in. And for Phantom and Iroh, one playing tree, one playing bush, split position, and this is huge based off of beams, because if one player, like Mom or Alec, takes an over-excited peek, that's where we could see a massive advantage come into play from Iroh. As you can see, Mom trying to take the peaks off that side and try and smoke out Iroh and Phantom right now.
Yeah, it looks like Mom is going to try and hit into any trees, any pushes that he sees off in the distance that he thinks that Iroh or Phantom could be in. But really smart positioning here that Phantom and Iroh are separated. So if one person starts to beam, they're able to beam them backlash. I mean, this is going to be interesting. They're now both right out of the circle, so they're going to have to expose themselves for a movement into the circle. And it looks like Mom is going to get hit down to 146, and Phantom and Iroh are going to meet in the middle, go into this little shed, move out, and wow, Phantom coming straight through with these beams, straight onto Mom, knocking them down to 73. Alex now down to just over 100 health, combining the both, and they are out of heals. They have nothing else left. They're going to have to use their all to try and get these eliminations on Iroh and Phantom if they want to win.
At once, I had thought the grapple gloves were the perfect positioning right here for Mom and Alec, but all of a sudden, I'm starting to rethink this. The shockwaves coming into play from Iroh and Phantom, and all of a sudden here, they're playing the patient game once again. Cowcatcher and high ground versus Porta Fort and low ground. And now it's all about who's going to be able to make the first move first. And at this moment, it may just be Phantom and Iroh having those shockwaves, although, look at that zone. Like you kind of initiative too, this is the position that they wanted, they needed, and here at the moment, it's looking beautiful. But hold up, wait a minute. The shockwave is in hand.
Oh, this would definitely be a bit of a different story if they decided to hold any junk rifts. They could just throw them straight over there onto Alec and Mom, but it looks like they're trying to throw some shockwaves, make them go back into the storm. Alec and Mom are right on the edge. They're gonna have to start moving, getting some shots onto Phantom and Iroh, but does not look like Phantom or Iroh wants to peek out at all because they know that this is just such a standoff right now. This is the Old West, the Wild, Wild West, and these two players, these four players are not gonna keep it up. And it looks like Mom is now down there. Phantom gets some shots on there. Alec is left out in the storm and gets the next victory royale and hits the gritty. Woo! There we go.
That is what we absolutely love to see. Phantom and Iroh taking home their second victory royale of the day on top of 4 eliminations, 1+ that they had in game number 1. So it's looking like a mighty fine start for them right here in day number 1. And honestly, I don't know. So far, based off of that, they might be able to take the lead here, Apples.
I mean, they may be able to. It just comes down to who has the most eliminations at the end of the day, because Alec and they could have been able to keep that top spot. Alec and Mom got 8 eliminations their first game. That is so many. That's 16 points ahead of whoever else got 0 eliminations. So I'm excited to see the standings and the leaderboard. We will be right back with you guys after a break, and we will have the third game ready for you soon.
Fortnite fam, hey, welcome back here after an amazing game number 2 here of the Masters Invitational. And Apples, I must say, you appear to have struck in gold right now in your prediction.
I mean, I am feeling pretty good about it. This is the first kind of time that I've been able to predict the winner of the games, other than when I predicted Hallie and Foster in the past. But, you know, I am feeling pretty good. They got, Iroh and Phantom got 4 eliminations last game, ended in first place when we saw that amazing standoff between Alec and Mom. I mean, that last game was riveting, and I mean, Alec and Mom, they also played very valiantly too. They got 5 eliminations as well, but I mean, they didn't get that victory out like Phantom and Iroh did, so.
Very true, very true. But I must say, those 5 eliminations was, hey, juicy enough, I'd say. Juicy enough to bring them up to the top. So that's going to be 10 points just based off of elimination. So does that Victory Royale matter that much to the point where they essentially lose that focus of what is in sight? Because at the moment, it's seeming like they're the runaway first team at the moment. Meanwhile, Foster Callie being left in the back mirror so far of the car. And this race is just keeping on pushing without majority of our top teams throughout the weeks.
Exactly. It's a little bit interesting to see Callie and Foster playing a little bit differently than we've seen the last couple weeks. Maybe they just picked up The Sims for a week and just forgot about Fortnite for a little bit. And maybe this is just them warming up the first couple games, and we'll see them the next 2 just kind of balling out, get as many eliminations as they can, and showing us the Foster and Callie that we know, that we've seen the last 8 weeks. Because I believe in them. I definitely feel like they have the ability to be able to play how they have played before. But, I mean, just right now, they aren't. Iroh and Phantom are the ones that have been getting the 2 victory royales. Alec and Mom have been getting all the eliminations in the lobby. It's just been a bit of a topsy-turvy tournament. I mean, just a little bit of a mix-up.
All bobbling around. And so far, the same ball out of the juggling machine has stayed up on top, and that's going to be Phantom and Iroh. I mean, like we mentioned, 2 victory royales so far today. But that was not the beginning of their journey here, Apples, because in week number 8 here, leading up to this day number 1 of the Masters Invitational, they picked up back-to-back-to-back victory royales, aka 3, along with 17 total eliminations. Though, granted, it's not as good as Foster and Callie's best week, which is kind of what I'm waiting for. But at the moment, it's looking like Phantom and Iroh's game.
It's definitely looking at that, but it also is looking like I feel like Alec and Mom are going to be pulling something up in the next couple of games. We saw them play the first game really aggressively, getting 8 eliminations. This last game, they got second place with, I think, either 4 or 5 eliminations. So they're warming up to the point where they're starting to get the standings mentality instead of getting all the eliminations that they need. So maybe in the next couple games, they realize how to balance that act, trying to vibe, get their chemistry right with these other players that are in the lobby. So that's definitely a team that we should be looking out for. I definitely feel like Alec and Mom could take it for the next couple games. I mean, Lash, do you have any bit of a different idea about who's going to be taking the next couple games?
You know, I really don't. I for the first time, not, I don't know, utmost confidence, I'd say, in Foster and Callie. It seems like they've almost overwhelmed themselves to the point where they become like this. When they once were like open wide to the sky, and all of a sudden it's been boxed. And their open world potential has, like I said, been boxed. So what I think they need to do is bring building back into the fold real quick, is outbox themselves and get themselves back into the 0 build groove, you know what I mean? Stop getting piece controlled out there in the normal public game modes, you know what I'm saying? And get back in that 0 build groove that they were once on.
Yeah, they may have just played a little bit too many of build games, maybe just a little bit too much in creative that they just, got off of their game. They may have just, just played a little bit too many different games. So we do have the standings ready for you guys to see exactly who is in the top spot right now. Let's check them out.
Here we go. In first place, folks, it's real close as Phantom and Iroh, after 2 back-to-back victory royales, are now in our first place spot at 70 points. Meanwhile, in second place, we have No Fear, 68 points, literally 2 points behind first. Out of all the eliminations that they've racked up, it's not been enough to keep them in first. However, it's been enough to give them a 20-point lead over Meet Your Makers in third place.
This is definitely an interesting standings list. I don't think I've ever seen POG champions this low on the standings. Almost half of what the points that Phantom and Friend have. And honestly, this is such a close battle between No Fear and Phantom and Friend. They have 2 points difference, and honestly right behind them is Meet Your Makers with 48. That's like a 30-point difference, but at this point, anyone that's in the top 5, if they take the next 2 games, they're gonna be able to, jump to that top spot, I'd say.
Yeah, but we're gonna have to see now here as game number 3 out of 4 is ready, so let's jump right into the battle bus as it is beeping.
Beep beep. Looks like Phantom and Iroh here are still deciding to keep with their drop spot over by the Joneses. We've seen this before with Callie and Foster. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. And it's not broken. They've won the last 2 games. In the third game, it may not be any different if Callie and Foster don't decide to change up their ways as well, Lash.
That would be mighty interesting, wouldn't it? You see one of the teams down on the leaderboards, they're like, all right, now's our time to shine, and maybe landing in on that first place team. And we've seen it at the top of the top best competition here before, but now we jumped in with our second best team so far on the day. It's going to be Mom and Alec, and early off spawn, picking up right where they left off, getting that knock on top of Fear. There's his teammate still left remaining, which does not appear to be here at the Synapse station, at least for the time being, as he's actually lurking out in the ocean. I don't know, soaking in that sunlight maybe?
It is summer camp, but looks like local Iron here is kind of swimming back, actually. Could be going for that reboot card for his teammate. Maybe he thinks Alec and Mom are out of this spot, but if I were local Iron, I'd probably hang back just a little bit because Alec and Mom are not ones to shy away from a fight. We can see that Alec is right there, right on his radar. It looks like Iron's just vibing. They're just like, hey, I'm gonna grab some ammo. I'm gonna get a shotgun and... Oh, wait, there's a player there. Let me run over here and get some shots on. Landing a shot onto Alec, just a couple here. Alec jumping around, getting a bit of a pickaxe fight on there. It looks like... Alec gets that elimination, and now that team is out of the lobby, sent back.
Yeah, rough off spawn, and it seems like Synapse Station may not necessarily be the play for Fear and Ron there. Here off spawn against Alec and Mom, our second place team, but now all of a sudden back up at first, it seems like, because they've been now first on the elimination count here. So that's already plus 4 points, which gets them 2 points ahead of Phantom and Iroh right now, early off spawn. And this could be another W game, possibly.
It could be, but it could also be a bit of an upset unless Callie and Foster decide to play just a little bit differently than they have recently. We've been seeing them just a little bit nervous. This could be just a bit of a big tournament for them if they're not really used to it, but we have seen them in the last weeks. They have been killing the game recently, and I'm excited to see if they're going to be able to pick it up this last couple games, but we're going to move over to Phantom and Iroh. They're moving southeast right now, outside of the Joneses. Gonna see if they can pick up the last couple of items that they need for their end game. Phantom already has a portafort, so I don't know what else they need. Maybe a junk rift. That would be really interesting to see a little bit more gameplay from them with the junk rift. I really love that, the way that we saw it in the first game. We didn't see too much other than that one play from Callie and Foster.
Yeah, you're exactly right. And, hey, they have the junk rift again in their inventory. It's like as if you spoke and it was summoned back into the inventory. Wait a minute, Apples. I'm on to you. Hold up, wait a minute. What are you doing here? But we got a broadcast favorite right in front of them. Adam and the champ do Foster and Callie maybe find themselves back onto their rebound after eliminating a team? Because I feel like they need a little bit of that confidence, and now they're going straight back to their grassroots right now off of the battle bus, and I think the strategy's changed it a bit here, Apples.
Yeah, just a little bit. It looks like the Champ and Adam are sticking with their same strategy, sticking in, you know, they're camping right now. They're just vibing. They're waiting to get those placement points, seeing if anyone decides to hop up on the reality tree as well. And we can see the Foster and Callie are just, you know, a little preoccupied with the battle bus over by that gas station. We can see that maybe they're shooting their cannon around at each other, maybe destroying a couple builds, you know, having a little bit of fun. It is the summer camp. It is the Master Invitational, but it is still summer camp. You're allowed to have fun. We are having a great time here. I'm having a great time here, Lash. Are you?
Oh, I'm absolutely having a great time. And hey, Foster, yeah, I think he's having a great time with that battle bus as well. It's like a brand new toy car, and he's like, yes, I get to play with this on Christmas Day. Or in this case, summer day. Oh yeah, I'm all for that right now. And hey, is this the game? You know, little late on the predictions, but you know, Foster, Callie, is this the game that they possibly take away here?
I mean, it could be if they decide to really, I guess, kind of shape up their act. They've kind of been playing just a little bit differently than we've seen them play. As we've said before, they're not usually passive players. We see them go out and get eliminations, seek them out from other people, but maybe if they're able to speak, you know, get a little peek on Adam and the Champ, or if they decide to get also, I mean, a little bit aggressive with them, I mean, that could spell out 2 eliminations for them if they decide to get those. But I think right now they are just vibing, Lash.
Just vibing out, but I must say, success is only something that can grow on a few trees, and sometimes that tree can fall. But when that tree falls, it grows new seeds, and one of those new seeds has been Phantom and iRose. We can take a look at their loadouts right now, and so far out of the Jonases, their loadouts have just been immaculate like no other. And my main play of it has been the utilization of shockwaves and portaforts.
Definitely has been great for them to be able to find that high ground in wherever spot that they go, and it looks like they're coming up on another player that they usually eliminate every single time that they come across them in the lobby. It's always Phantom, Iroh versus Apple, and it looks like they may be able to sneak up a little bit on this other player if they see him, but looks like Phantom right now and Iroh just trying to get out of the storm, into the circle, into shuffled shrines, and maybe Apple may have a bit of an advantage against them if they're able to see them get a couple peeks and maybe a couple shots. But we're going to move over to Callie and Foster. It looks like they got their 2 eliminations for this game onto Adam and Champ there. It looks like their spot was compromised, and looks like Iroh and Phantom accidentally move into a bit of a rift here over in Shuffled Shrines.
A sticky situation right now with Apple once again, and Apple has now just been splattered across the loot of the island. And for Phantom and Iroh, they're just like, all right, that's a yummy apple right there, and we'll take up the fruits of that elimination there of Spawn. But a couple elims that we didn't quite notice has got to be Zaz and Jax. They already picked up 2 eliminations so far early in this game, and so far, for teams all in the top 4 right now, it's looking mighty good. And for Phantom and Iroh, I'm liking the progress they're making here in the zone.
Yeah, me too. It looks like Zaz and Jax are also getting a really great spot in the storm over by the statue over here. They're getting a little bit of a tent action here, camping out. I mean, it is summer. You are vibing. It is the vibe time. Looks like Callie and Foster are moving up on them over northeast of Tilted Towers. They may see them a little bit from a distance, but decided to move around, maybe get a different angle on them, get a couple other movements. They do have 2 eliminations on the board, which is 4 points in total for these players, not including placement. It looks like they're going to be rotating straight around where Jackson Zaza sees them out of the corner of their eyes, going to try and get some shots on their rappel at this point.
Just playing the entire, well, sea barrel into the play as The junk riff's now coming into fire. Jax left out in the ocean, and he may have spent a little bit too much time out there in the boat. At the moment, junk riff's being thrown down into the hands of Foster, and Callie is now, all of a sudden, it looks like they have their confidence back as they pick up the 2 eliminations there onto Jax and Zaz. And this is the moment where Callie and Foster start to rise back up again.
They just destroyed that entire building. Wow. Wow, with junk riffs. I mean, wow, the disrespect to the Fortnite community, the landscape. I mean, they did get 2 eliminations out of it, so we're gonna have to see a little bit later if they keep that momentum. But it looks like Phantom and Iroh are moving up near their position. They may see them a little bit in the corner of their eye if they get a little bit too close. But Phantom and Iroh, they do have Portiverse, they do have Shockwave, so they may be able to get a good rotate, maybe able to move around them, get a little sneaky if they need to. But looks like they may get to this point in this circle where they find their high ground, their spot where they're able to look down on everyone, get shots on players, get their eliminations, as they can see, as we've seen them get. They're able to get that high ground on a high spot, split up a little bit maybe, and get 2 different angles on players, but looks like they're going to be sitting in a bush for now, Lash.
You know, I gotta say it. I'm thinking this is the game here in game number 3 out of 4 where we see the duel-off of Phantom and Iroh and Foster and Callie. It's shaping up that way, but Alec and Mom are looking to be that, I guess you could say, main team to, I guess you could say, stop that right now. And based off of the consistency that they put up all day long, it looks like they could be that wrench in the wheel.
Yeah, it definitely looks like it. They're going to be able to rotate into the storm circle first and get this high ground right on this hill. So they may have the best advantage out of all these teams unless other players decide to steal this high ground from them. But they're able to look down on their kingdom, look down, see who's coming into this circle and see who's making their moves, making their rotates. But looks like everyone right now is starting to camp. It's that point in the circle. We only have 6 players left. 3 teams are 3 top teams that we have in this competition right now. I mean, we're just vibing. We're chilling. We're watching Alec just sit here. Alec, hit an emote if, you know, hit emote, you know?
I don't know. You don't got the special in-game speaker. You know what I mean, Apples?
Oh,
I mean,
true. Sorry.
Shucks, you didn't get that update on your game.
No.
That's rough. But hey, Callie and Foster taking the pit stop right by, and now Alec and Mom just trying to play the creepy advantage, and now they're waiting for them to open the wide door up at the top. It looks like both teams had the exact same idea. Hold up, wait a minute. Junk Rift comes into play with the Shockwave, saves him for the last second, and now Mom looking to take the shots around that right side, gets 8 damage onto Foster, but Foster replies back that 2-shot shotgun coming into play massively, and now Alec able to take the time to dip out of the fight, so 1 survives out of the 2, and now Callie and Foster have to be careful of third-party beams.
Looks like they have now gotten their 5th elimination up on the board. We can see that, I mean, Iroh and Phantom see this happening. They're going to use this boulder to try and get that Portafort destroyed because they have the high ground. They have the advantage. Iroh and Phantom are going to have to rotate around, I mean, pretty silently if they're going to want to get a bit of an advantage on these 2 players. Or maybe they'll just stick with low ground, see if the storm pulls their way, because right now they are in the circle just a little bit, so they are hidden. But where did Alec go is my question. He is on the other side of the circle just hiding. There's no way that he can get a reboot card at this point. He's going to have to play as a solo, play out this, and maybe get a bit of placement score if he's able to.
Yeah, placement's definitely going to be the biggest point line of each of these teams here in the top 3, and for Callie and Foster, getting the closest point to zone, now being the guard dogs of everybody else outside of that zone right now because they are the closest. They have the high ground advantage. Meanwhile, 1 player dipping there, bottom right tilted. And then the 2 of Phantom and Iroh right in front of the sight lines of Foster and Callie. And now the decision deciphering between Iroh and Phantom right now is massive because they have 1-way, 2-way, and which street will be the highway?
I mean, they could decide to just go guns a-blazing straight up into this Port Fort. Definitely not their style of gameplay, though. They know how to rotate. They know how to get around. So right now, I feel like in their comms, they're like, all right, we're going to go this way, but just in case this happens, we're going to go around. And it looks like Iroh's able to sneak around a little bit in front of Callie. You can't really see him a little bit, maybe just a little bit of a shadow. And it doesn't look like Callie really wants to take any shots yet because they're going to have to start moving in just a little bit. Doesn't look like they have any more Port-a-Forts, so they're going to try and keep this fortified Port-a-Fort up as much as they can. Looks like Foster has eyes on Iroh and Phantom. They are able to move past into the storm almost, and Foster deciding to just use that shockwave, move straight up to them. Iroh and Phantom split up. Gonna be able to get these angles on here. Phantom's getting some shots on him, but Phantom's in the circle. Iroh is in the storm, so right now he is the exposed player, and he gets knocked down by Foster. Phantom is now a solo player.
This is now 2 solos against the 1 duo of Foster and Callie, and it looks like the group has now been reinstated, reinformed here. 6 eliminations already here for Foster and Callie already, and now they're just trying to take the peeks around, trying to find exactly where Alec and Phantom are saving the ground, as Phantom just chilling there. He's taking advantage of the log cabin right now, and all of a sudden it's kind of reframed back to a standoff. Meanwhile, Foster and Callie need to take advantage of these shockwaves, and I can guarantee you here, Apples, players of this caliber with this amount of shockwaves are gonna make a move at some point.
Yeah, definitely. I feel like Alec also has a really great angle right now on Phantom if he decides to go and get an elimination there. But also, Alec has a really great spot in the storm. I mean, in the circle. So, doesn't really need to move. It looks like Callie and Foster are going to try and hit this crate, get some more heals up, maybe a couple more shockwaves for this game. And honestly, Phantom right now is a pretty great spot. He is on the edge of the on the edge of the storm, but he's also gonna have to, you know, make sure that the junk drifts aren't hitting him, and make sure that Alec is also not hitting him as well, hiding behind this chimney, getting a bunch of shots on him. And Alec, I mean, Callie and Foster know exactly where he's at right now, throwing down that Port-a-Fort, so now he has some extra coverage, and it looks like he's gonna try and get some long-range shots, but he also just exposed his position for the rest of the game, Lash.
Yeah, that Port-a-Fort coming in massively, but like you said, it's going to be a massive eyesore. And for Phantom, he's not basing off himself looking pretty. Nah, he's just trying to get the best position, as now he's able to get a couple free tags down there onto Callie in the back end, but they get onto the ridge. Now they have to be careful of Alec around the tree, but Alec saves himself with a double Port-a-Fort, but no, stuffs himself below the corner, below the mountain, and all of a sudden, here in the moment, as Callie and Foster are able to secure their 7th elimination, and Phantom is starting to find himself an aggressive point of view, able to sneak behind the rock, able to take a couple shots, however, is now going to take the advantage with the Port-a-Fort on height.
Ooh, got the Port-a-Fort on height, but Callie jumps straight into that Port-a-Fort, gets the knock onto Phantom. Foster and Callie claim their first game of today of the Shrine Summer Masters Invitational, and I mean, that was a great comeback for that team.
Hey, must I say, the trophy crown jewel winners. I'm holding it for you. Here you go, Foster and Callie. I got you. There you go. What a win. What a comeback. 8 eliminations to bring them back up towards the top of the leaderboards here. I'm feeling it right now. Great comeback. I mean, Foster and Callie, terrific job. I was rooting for you guys the whole time. I was speaking some words of constructive criticism, and they took it.
I mean, they did take it, and they did win that last game, and we're going to have to see after the break just exactly how many points that brought them. Maybe that brought them up into top 3. Maybe that brought them up into the first place, but we'll be right back after a short break, and we will let you guys know all of the deets right then.
What's up, Fortnite fam? Welcome back here. As I know, I may be looking a little brighter here and a little bit more joyful. And that's because my prediction, Callie and Foster. Good job, boys. Way to take home that W there of 8 eliminations in game number 3. I was rooting for you guys the whole time. I'm telling you.
I mean, yeah, you were, but they only got 1 victory royale with my prediction. Phantom and Iroh have gotten 2, and I definitely feel like they could take it in this next game. But I mean, I do have to commend Callie and Foster. They did get 8 eliminations last game. That is just something that we haven't seen them do yet today, and it's just par for the course for Callie and Foster. They are some crazy players, so I'm excited to see them pick it up, get rid of their nerves a little bit, and, play like the Callie and Foster that we know.
Oh, I 1000% agree on that. Most definitely, they're on the up and coming. I told you a little bit in the behind the scenes, like, all right, are they purposely playing bad here just so that way they can make the greatest story, the greatest rise up to the top we've ever seen? I think so. Maybe.
Oh.
Foster, Callie, you telling us, you try to tell us something we don't know quite yet? I don't know. We'll have to find out once those leaderboards start festering up a little bit more too as well. But based off of what we've seen after that third game, what are your kind of thoughts on teams and positioning to maybe your own team of Phantom and Iroh?
Okay, here's the thing. Phantom and Iroh, they played really well last game. They just kind of got stuck in a really bad situation. They kind of got, split out at that point. Iroh was in the storm, Phantom was alone, and they really vibe together. They have great chemistry for their team. So maybe it's just like Foster wasn't able to get victory royales on his own, so it's just kind of hard as a solo player in a duos tournament to get that dub. Why are you making that face? What's up?
Wow.
What you got?
the flame on Foster there is crazy. That's wild.
I mean,
Foster, mark that down.
Foster, I'm sorry. Don't unfollow me on Twitter. I'm sorry.
Do it.
They played really well last game, and I'm excited to see them in the next game if they're able to keep this up. I mean, that last game, they got the same amount of eliminations that Alec and Mom got in the first game, but, I mean, that could have catapulted them up to the first place position if they were able to. I mean, first place? That's a lot of points, especially since it's doubled. Right now, if you're just joining us here on the stream, we have 4 games today. Not just 3, we got 4, and the points are doubled. That means elimination points are doubled. You get 2 points for every elimination. And your placement score is also doubled. So you're going to get a crazy amount of points just for getting a victory royale and 8 eliminations. So that definitely could have catapulted Callie and Foster to first place. But we're going to have to check. Standings are ready right now, so we can see. Are you ready, Lash?
Oh, I'm always ready. Here we go, folks. In first place, still holding on there after third game at 94 points. And then, no fear, hot on the tail. Still 2 points behind the same exact score that we had after game number 2. And it's pretty much copy and pasted over, except for that third place spot where we have 82 points. The Pog Champions, a.k.a. Callie and Foster. I mean, hey, they're creeping. They're creeping up their apples.
I mean, they gained almost 30 points since their last game, and that catapulted them up from 4th place into 3rd. They are right at the tails of No Fear and Phantom's team. I mean, I would not be surprised if they take it in this next game if they play the same way that they played the last one. And I mean, there's lots of teams on here that have also catapulted a bit. Sonic Forces, we saw them in 8th place last game, and now they are up into 5th. We saw them, ending in a little bit of a later standing. We saw them get about 4th. It was 5th place for them, so that got them a lot of placement score since point values are doubled. So excited to see exactly what happens in this next game, Lash.
Yeah, definitely majorly excited right now here, Apples, because now we get to see what are these teams really made of right now, because out of each week, we did not see more than 3 games. So now we get to truly find out what are these teams, I guess, stamina really made of here, based off of the fact that what they do here is basically going to rewrite the story of what will happen coming into day 2, the final day tomorrow. Because, hey, in all well ends well in consistency. So, if they can make a proud game number 4 happen right now, this is the time to do it. Because leading into tomorrow, you need that consistency.
And definitely, since it is a competition, I mean, you can, queue up in Fortnite, play 4 different games back to back to back to back, and it's going to be really hard to get victory royales and a crazy amount of eliminations in every single game, and that's no different in pubs, different in competitive. So, I mean, stamina, that's definitely something you need to be looking out to. These players have been used to playing only 3 games in these Stride tournaments, but, Lash, if they had been playing competitive playlist games, they would have a little bit more knowledge under their belt, a little bit more experience controlling their stamina. Maybe they know, all right, at my 3rd game, I need to get an energy drink. I need to get a little bit of food, a sandwich, maybe a little bit of, maybe some cereal just to power my body up, get some more brain food so I'm ready for the next couple games. And I mean, listen, if you're sitting here waiting for the game to start, grab a snack, grab a little bit of water so you can get super ready to watch this next game, because it is the last game for today until we get to the next one, which is tomorrow. I mean, we have 2 full days of Fortnite, Lash.
Oh yeah, it's big time hype here, and if you're in the player's position right now, Apples, what exactly snack are you going with? Because I know personally, I'm going with yogurt and granola, and then maybe a couple blueberries in there. Just you get all the brain food, and then you're ready to go for this 4th game.
Well, I do not like yogurt. I don't like dairy products, unfortunately. So, if I were going to try and get some, I would probably be popping some popcorn in my mouth. I mean, that's a really easy snack to just have on your desk, on the side, just popping it in while you're even playing the game. I mean, yogurt and granola, that's like a whole, like, spoon situation that you have to deal with.
That's the best spot. What do you mean? That you don't get to use, you don't have to use your hands? It's whatever. It's all good. But we got to talk about predictions here based off of your popcorn love. And I know you're here enjoying all the Fortnite as if you had a piece of popcorn in your hand right now. But, I mean, who are you picking here for game number 4, the final game of day number 1?
Oh, definitely Phantom and Iroh. 100%. They got the first 2 games. They kind of got separated this last game. Callie and Foster were able to overtake them, and Alec came through as well. But here's the thing. I feel like they've learned their lesson from last game, and they're going to come through and get that last elimination, because right now they are still in first place. Right behind them is Meet Your Makers, and then right behind that is Pog Champion. So, I'm going to go with Phantom and Iroh.
I like that pick. I like that pick a lot. But, I mean, I'm sticking with the homeboys of Foster and Callie. They're just too good. I mean, there's no stopping them. They came into here today and they were like, a little underrated. We're going to fly under the radar. Now, all of a sudden, they've shot back up onto the radar with a Game 3 victory royale. 8 elims as well. I think they've recuperated their Week 7 selves, and now I'm calling it now. 11 elimination VR. Watch it happen.
I mean, here's the thing. Okay, Lash, I feel like you've got to have like a little bit of an inside insight to these players. I don't know if you've communicated with them outside the game, just in the last couple weeks. Do you know anything that they have been practicing? Maybe that's gotten them a little bit of a competitive edge. Maybe they're like, all right, we're going to play it like not that great the first 2 games, so we're going to play really amazingly the next 2. So everyone's like, whoa, that's crazy. They knocked it out of the park. We knew that they could do it. Like, do you have any insight? Like, what have they been doing? Tell me.
I see y'all. I don't know a thing. That is the strategy I'm living by right now here. And for Foster and Callie, it's just like, all right, I know what they're about. I know what they can do. So they're just going to put it to play here, and now we get to find out here, Apples, as we jump into the battle bus here, ladies and gentlemen, for game number 4.
Woo. I am ready. The battle bus is going. Beep, beep, Callie and Foster. It looks like they are moving over towards Rave Cave in the reality tree. This is usually their last 8 weeks kind of drop spot. We've seen them here, and I mean, it's definitely expected from them. Their saplings could be over here as well, so they're able to get their legendary loot that we've always seen them have. And you know what? It's a bit of a great setup for them as well.
A great setup here off spawn at the Synapse Station. Alec, early off spawn, able to snag that prime shotgun, knocks down Fear for the 4th time today. And Fear, man, unfortunately touching that ground, downed and knocked as well. So his teammate is going to take that north side of the Synapse Station, maybe trying to play it a bit different. Meanwhile, Iroh and Phantom taking down Apple as well for the 3rd time here today off spawn. So both teams of Synapse Station and the Jonases have pretty much had early game eliminations pretty easily here off spawn as Alec picks up his 2nd one here early off spawn.
Yep, got 2 prime shotguns in his thing, and you know what? Hitting a little bit of a dance, gonna show the viewers exactly that they know what they're doing, throwing up that victory royale crown and sweeping out the competition. And you know what? They are right at the storm pole, it looks like. And we're gonna move on over to Mom and Alec. We can see Alec is a little bit low right now. Does not have the normal health that you usually spawn with, so could have been a little bit of a fight that may have happened a little bit earlier that we weren't able to see, that Alec ran away from. But it looks like they're moving over towards this situation over here, towards this reality tree, this little bit of a coral castle spot that we can see. And it looks like they're gonna maybe try and loot up. Mom doesn't have anything on their person right now. This is a little bit of an interesting drop at this point.
It seems to be a little bit more of a split situation right now between Alec and Mom, as Mom, like you mentioned, no loot whatsoever. However, with Alec having 2 eliminations early off spawn, it begs the question, what exactly is the strategy heading into this game? Are they purposely splitting off to maybe get more elims because they're just that confident that they can take out the rest of the players? Because I don't necessarily agree with that confidence, at least quite yet. Granted, they've been able to run away with a good amount of eliminations in the past 3 games. However, they haven't been able to get that evasive victory royale yet.
It looks like that we have Himza and Chaos Turtle. Himza has been a player that we saw the last couple of weeks play really, really well, so I'm excited to see them in this competition today. And it looks like Chaos Turtle was able to pick up some crash pads, and you know what? I love crash pads. I don't care what anyone else says. I think they're really fun, and sometimes when I'm bored playing Fortnite, I throw them down and I just have a little bit of a party. I jump on them. It's like a trampoline until one of my friends decides to make me stop and shoots out that crash pad. So, I mean, I love them. What about, Lash, do you have any opinions about crash pads at all? Am I the only one that has like an actual opinion about this?
You know, I think my opinion is you like to get lasered out of the sky, don't you? Because the crash pad, especially here in Zero Build, is a pretty much free beam. So if I'm 1v1ing you here in Zero Build and you pop a crash pad, I must say you're getting taken out.
Okay, well, you know what? I do it for fun, so that's what I'm having fun in Fortnite when I play, and it looks like Phantom and Ira are also kind of having a little bit of fun outside over by the Jonesy stash. You got a lot of portaforts up here. They may have learned a bit of their lesson from last game and decided that they need a little bit more fortitude towards the end game, and maybe they're going to jump up towards these rifts to kind of get a bit of a different positioning here, but gonna throw down a portafort there, get some early fortification here. Maybe they think that the storm is gonna pull this direction, but we can see that the Champ and Adam here are just vibing on their boat. I mean, it's summertime. Woo, go fishing. Let's have a little bit of fun. Woo.
That's all you need, you know, a little bit of boat games, and then you're absolutely vibing. But hot on their tails is a new team gliding off. As you can see there, folks, on the bottom right half of your screen, you see the mini-map, and now blue markers have infiltrated the boat base, and the Champ is trying to get off his fortified base, and Iroh and Phantom pushing in the battle, looking to get these picks. One knock already pushing out, and now one player left remaining, and that's the champ. He's trying to find the peaks around this side, and now Vance and Myro are looking to get these 2 eliminations, adding on to their 1 already. They pick up another 2, and here we go. 3 elims early in the game for Phantom and Myro. Your prediction looking pretty good here, Apples.
I mean, I know how to pick them. I'm pretty great at this, and you know what? They already won 2 games, so I would not be surprised if they're able to get this one as well. But that means that they're gonna have to go up against Callie and Foster, which we have not checked in with for a while. So I hope that they're doing all right. Maybe they've gotten a couple eliminations as well, but right now we're gonna stick with Phantom and Iro on this side of the island. It looks like they're kind of in a split location, as a Sonic Star Gaming right here is on the other side of where Phantom and Iro is walking up towards. So maybe this could get a little bit sticky, a little bit dicey for this player. We saw them go down to some players a little bit earlier with Callie and Foster, and it was a little bit of a scary fight because they are playing as a solo right now. They do not have a teammate that's able to watch their back, but they do have a long-range heavy sniper that they may be able to use to get some great shots onto other players, maybe some headshots here, but you can see that Iro and Phantom right now are getting into a little bit of a battle, it seems.
A little bit of a battle here. That's another elim on the board here, and Chaos Turtle is looking to ensue the chaos. Down he goes, and now Phantom and Iro, their 5th elimination of the game here, and they are just getting started as they sight their attention on a Sonic Star right in front of their eyes. They don't know he's quite there at least yet, but I think they have the visualized sound effects now coming into play as they're pushing in the battle. And now, with the opposing player of Sonic right above, they're pushing in mighty quick. Phantom there to take down the beams, and count it, another elim on the board for Phantom and Iro.
That is now at 6 eliminations, and we're gonna have to see them a little bit later with Foster and Callie, as we can see them using the battle bus. This is something that is not new for Foster and Callie. They love utilizing this car. I mean, this cannon here is definitely OP, but it could give you a lot of targets on your back. If they knock Jax down all the way down, get some, I mean, that's a knock. I mean, where is his teammate? Where is it at? I mean, this may have been the team that split up in the beginning, but now Jax is on his own at this point and also eliminated. I mean, what's happening? Where's going? Where's this other player?
Utter chaos, it seems to be, because Zazaz's teammate of Jax is nowhere to be seen. And at the moment, Callie and Foster are pretty much just on a rampage with this battle buffs in the mid game, and they're looking mighty fine as they drive off, not quite into the sunset, at least yet. We could see that storyline develop a little bit later, but now we get to see where Zazaz is, and he's in a quite opposite side, I'd say, Apples.
Just a little bit too far away to be able to get any sort of card, maybe a reboot on this other player, so it may be Zaza's as a solo at this point, but Foster and Callie are going to be on the lookout for Zaza's right now, and it looks like they may drive straight through. Nope, takes a right turn. And Zaza's is hidden in that tall grass. It's actually a perfect location for them because now Callie and Foster are going to be doing a bit of a skateboarding move, half-pipe move on this side of the Daily Bugle, moving around. Zaza's gets out scot-free, going to be able to move straight into the circle, going to run over to this board, get a bit more of a movement situation here as he moves through Coney Crossroads and gets into the storm circle. It's going to be a bit of a fight, a bit of a running battle for him, though.
Bit of a running battle in front of Zazaz, though, right now. Not quite sure if those are NPCs, at least quite yet, but we'll have to find out whether or not those elims go out in the feed. But for Mom and Alec, they are playing the most patient we have seen them all day long, which, granted, has worked them well, at least so far. They know they've gotten those 2 off-spawn eliminations here, and now they're pretty much just taking a chill pill, especially with 1 solo remaining, as well as 3 duos, also including them. So they know, at least for the moment, they don't have a threat to worry about right now, and they're just like, all right, we're just gonna vibe.
Yeah, definitely not too much of a threat there, but they did not have any other healing items other than minis, so that may spell a little bit of trouble for them in a little bit of the later circle, but it looks like Foster and Callie here are also kind of vibing. Not really too many people other than the team over in the Joneses there, but looks like they're going to be moving over to this gas station. We've seen them over here time and time again. This is definitely a favorite spot for Foster and Callie, as there's a lot of walls, lots of natural landscaping that they're going to be able to hide behind. And it looks like Callie's going to be using this ledge here over by the garage. I mean, this is actually a great position for them just in case someone runs into the garage to grab that ammo that's right there on the ground. Kind of juke them out, get them to kind of step into their trap, as we could say.
That's straight up big brain from Callie and Foster, as they're just taking off to, I don't know, the top end, I'd say, and now they're just out here vibing, just like Mom and Alec are. So the only players out there alive kind of venturing for their own land are, 1, the solo of Zazaz, and 2, the duo of Phantom and Iroh. However, Alec and Mom have found themselves in the front-facing center of Zazaz, and they pick up another elimination on the board. So, with 2 teams left remaining, they are looking mighty W key fashion right now.
No, definitely, and they're gonna have to move right out of this area pretty soon as the storm gets there, but they're gonna get this bird here. It looks like they were able to drop some rare loot, but decided against it. Just got an elimination on a bird for no reason, guys. Come on. But looks like they're going to be moving into the storm through Shuffled Shrines. But we can see that Phantom and Iroh right here are camping in the Joneses at this point. But they are also in an attic. This is actually pretty similar to where Callie and Foster are sitting at this point. But looks like actually Iroh and Phantom are the ones that are sitting in the storm circle. So they have the advantage at this point.
Yeah, not only that, but they're also literally directly in the middle of zone. They will not have to move for another 12 minutes as these zones pull in. So, while teams like Alec and Mom are moving in, they're going to have to push in to many others around this side, and they won't have to worry about a single player except for the one duo out in the open, and that being Foster and Callie. So, around this area, I'd say it all comes down to who's going to be able to play the best third party.
Oh, definitely. It's going to be who's going to be able to pinch this other team, and it may actually be Iroh and Phantom that do get pinched in the middle if they do get trapped in that third spot, because I think we have a bit of a 1-2-3 situation. Everyone's kind of monkey in the middle at this point, so we're going to have to see a little bit, but at this point, everyone's just going to vibe. But it looks like Alec and Mom are running across the map, and maybe someone gets some long-range tags on them, or they're just going to hide in a bush. They're going to be able to get some cover, know exactly where they're going to be, and it looks like everyone is very far away from each other at this point. But the storm is about to close. We're about to get another circle, and guess what? Alec, Mom are outside, and Phantom and Iroh are right in the storm, so they don't have to move a single muscle at this point.
And this is exactly what you need to do if you're Alec and Mom right now, is pretty much go for height at the moment. They're going for every single ridge that they can stand upon right now. Meanwhile, the team of Foster and Callie, the team right there on the bottom right half of your screen that you once saw, they were the yellow markers now fighting the wolf at the moment because they have nobody else to fight. And they're even wasting those pickaxe swings, I guess you could say, and taking up a little bit more of that overshield so that way they don't sound a shot off right now. They don't really want to give away their position, especially right now, being in the best covered position at the moment, as it seems all of these 3 teams are basically playing the waiting game of like, all right, who's going to make the first move?
Exactly, and they have this boulder that they may be able to use to, throw a boulder out to some other players if they see them right in front of them. But it looks like Mom and Alec may think that someone is in that tower. They just do not want to expose themselves too much at this point to go up, around this hill. So they're just going to chill right now on the edge of the circle right before it starts to close. Kind of a waiting game for everyone. Iroh and Phantom, they are just chilling. They do not need to move a single muscle, as we've said before. They may have to move in just a little bit once the storm gets a little bit smaller, but At that point, I feel like they have such an advantage right now. No one knows where they are when Foster, Callie, Alec and Mom are right out in the open. They have the advantage of walls, structure around them, but that could also spell trouble for them if someone else has some junk rifts as well.
Very true, and I was just about to mention that. Yo, you got junk grifts like Foster does, you're going to be able to make a big-time play. And one thing they could also do is chuck a porta fort down and wreck the entire building surrounding. But the problem is they have no clue where these players are right now. And them kind of creeping around this ridge is so smart because they're pretty much covering their back and sides at the moment. They're making sure they have nobody else in their surroundings. Meanwhile, a team like Iron and Phantom, they could have anybody around them and even creeping up below them and not even know it.
Exactly. Someone could be just running into their house, and looks like they're going to have to be even moving right now. No one is in the circle. Everyone's going to have to move right now, at least in the next 40 seconds, just to see who gets there first. And, let's take a moment to appreciate this amazing fireworks display. It's very nice of Fortnite to put this in here for the Stride Summer Masters Invitational. Very beautiful, Fortnite. Thank you so much.
Yeah, of course. You gotta have some fireworks for the firework of gameplay that is about to unfold here. And as you can see here at the top right of your screens, this is game number 4 of day number 1. Points are doubled here for eliminations and all around the spectrum of points. So every elim does count here for every single one of these players. So every single move that these players make right here, right now, can be the differential of how they do not only today, but also tomorrow, moving that confidence in.
Yeah, I am kind of terrified at this point. Someone's going to have to start moving. Everyone has their back to the storm. It's going to really depend on who gets that height first, or if Iro or Phantom decide to just move up just a little bit, but they don't have any cover in front of them. They are at the edge of the house. They can't move forward at all, so they may wait to see if they can see Callie and Foster right on the edge of their screen, and you can kind of see them a little bit on that mountain. It looks like Alec and Mom were able to kind of hide a little bit in these bushes, but Phantom and Ira were able to get just a couple of shots on there, and it looks like they threw down the porta fort. So now they have the first porta fort in the smaller circle, and they're going to be able to see. They know exactly where everyone's at.
They've gotten the first focus onto Alec and Mom right now, wide out in the open. They didn't have the porta fort, and now they're going to end up going down. However, high ground left open to Callie and Foster. They've taken height with the porta fort, but however, look at that zone here, ladies and gentlemen. You can see the zone now pulling forward to Iron and Phantom. However, Callie and Foster now looking to make the move. They dip back into their own porta fort, but getting taken up tags. Now have to work back up to their own layer, yet they're still not even in zone here, Apples.
No, definitely not. They're going to have to move just a little bit further, or they're going to be able to use those junk rifts to get the damage onto Phantom and Iroh's porta forts, but Phantom does have 2 more porta forts that he can throw down if he really feels like that they need it. Callie and Foster right now, they are almost at full health for both of them. They're going to try and move around and use those junk strips even more, get rid of all of the coverage that they have. Phantom right now was kind of left out in the open. He's peeking a lot, trying to get some shots on there. Callie and Foster are using all of their junk rifts to get everything down here. This is, woo!
They still have one more as well. Meanwhile, Foster chucks it down and is going to be able to rain the rest of their cover, rest of their decision all the way down. But Phantom's like, nah, I got another one. Meanwhile, Iro and Foster, both teammates down stuck on low. And now it's the battle. Who's going to be able to get the most damage? Foster goes up for height, gets a knock on the Phantom. Meanwhile, Iro, the only solo left remaining. Well, Foster and Callie have taken over high ground, but the shockwave goes up from Iro. Tries to save himself a little bit longer. But Foster and Callie able to secure the big-time damage for the 4th game victory royale.
Woo! I was on the edge of my seat for that entire end game. We were just waiting to see where everyone was at, waiting to see, who was going to move first. Everyone had cover. Lash, that was crazy.
Big-time facts. Who else but Foster and Callie, I gotta say it, taking home that back-to-back victory royale. And now the tables are split here, Apples. Phantom Iro 2, Foster Callie too.
I mean, it really depends on who is able to get the most points to be able to catapult to the first place. I mean, Foster and Callie, they did have about 15 points that they needed to come up with to get ahead of Phantom and Iroh. I mean, they could have done it. They could have gotten this first game, but we're going to have to wait a little bit for those standings. Just a little bit, guys. I know you're on the edge of your seats. I am too. I really want to see who won, but we have to break that down just a little bit more. Lash, I mean, I'm flabbergasted. What's happening?
Well, let me break it down here easy so that way you can and digest the rest of this gameplay here, because I must say the realm of those portaforts was just absolutely wild. And I must say as well, the junk rifts coming into play, I think it took a little bit of time to develop for Foster and Callie. They were like, all right, we're going to take the first 2 games and get used to this a bit. Let's practice it up in these top tier lobbies, and then we can really start to get a feel for what we need to do. And they truly did put that into play, even with all the portaforts that Phantom and Iroh were able to bring in those final moments.
I mean, it was like back and forth, back and forth. I was like, someone's gonna run out of them at some point, and who was it? I mean, Phantom had another portafort they were able to throw down and get that last minute coverage, but it was not enough. I mean, Foster was able to shockwave into the portafort. They got so close at that point. They were able to get that elimination, that final elimination, to get them out of the lobby. And I mean, great gameplay there by Foster and Callie. You guys rotated and you guys played like you did the last 8 weeks, and it was amazing to watch. Woo!
It was fantastic to watch, honestly. Like, seeing the legends come up for the taking and maybe grab that full top spot. I don't know. We'll have to see. But, folks, we got to talk about what exactly is on the line here, as you have not only for first place an MSI monitor, but also for second and third, $100 Amazon gift card, as well as a third place Amazon gift card for $50. That's pretty crazy. But speaking of MSI, Apples, they're the ones sponsoring this, eh?
Yes, they are the ones sponsoring us. MSI, you guys have been amazing the last 8 weeks. I mean, we've said it before. We'll say it again. Supporting us anywhere that you guys can, on Twitter, in chat, anywhere. Can we get some love for MSI in the chat, guys? Hearts up. You guys are amazing. You've been giving all of our winners such amazing prizes, monitors, mice, headsets, keyboards. I mean, just supplying them with everything that they need to be the best gamers that they can. And you know what? Can you even think about how you could get an MSI monitor from this tournament, and then you can bring it to a LAN and be like, yeah, I got this for free from playing Fortnite. Yeah, I'm pretty sick. What about you guys? And no one else can really say that because they were not playing in this tournament. I mean, MSI, thank you so much. You guys rock.
MSI are just the GOATs. What else can you say? And being able to rock that on LAN would just be absolutely amazing. And not only that, but also being able to have the opportunity to win the laptop as well in first place. Like, come on. Could you imagine if Foster and Callie not only won the monitors, but also the laptop? They'd be pulling up on LAN with just the biggest decked out setups out of anybody, and they'd be like, you know what? That's thank you to MSI.
Yeah, thank you to MSI, and also thank you to the Stride Summer Camp program. You guys have also been really amazing. I don't know if you guys have been following us for the last 8 weeks, but Stride has been putting on these tournaments every week. It's going to be Fortnite, Rocket League, Smash. I think Fall Guys was also there too, and League of Legends. This program has been such an amazing place for players to get their skills up and play games. I mean, have a fun time, summertime, and win prizes from MSI. So, I mean, thank you so much to Stride. And, I mean, Lash, I think our standings are ready.
I believe so. Here we go, folks. After day number 1 of the Stride Summer Camp Master Invitational, Phantom and Iroh, aka Phantom and Friend, are in first place throughout the day so far. Through 4 games, they've racked up a total of 128 points, but right behind them at 120 is the Pog Champions, aka Callie and Foster, but creeping right behind them at 118 is No Fear, aka Alec and Mom, who went down there in the final moments of that endgame very early as well.
I mean, I'm just gonna have to say this. Tomorrow is gonna be such a tight competition between the top 5 players that we have right here. No Fair Pog Champions and Phantom and Friends. And also Meet Your Makers, because tomorrow, our points were doubled today. Tomorrow they're gonna be tripled. So I mean, if anyone decides at some point that they're gonna pop off, they're gonna be able to win tomorrow. So I'm excited to see. I mean, Phantom and Friend, you guys were my choice. So I mean, congrats for that. But also congrats to everyone else here that played. You guys all did such amazingly today. I mean, Lash, I'm flabbergasted. I'm always flabbergasted.
I mean, come on. What else can you say except for a great day one of competition? It was a tremendous start for many of these teams. And for Alec, Mom, they're going to need to pick it back up. And even for Meet Your Makers and co, just being able to have that possibility to rise to the occasion, even for the teams down there in the top 10, they're also going to have that opportunity as well. Like you mentioned, a triple point score. Y'all thought the comeback was real from Foster and Callie here today. Y'all are going to have to seriously tune in tomorrow because, oh my goodness, is it going to be insane.
It's going to be absolutely insane. I can't even speak. It's going to be so insane. I mean, absolutely insane. We will be live around 12:45 Eastern. I hope to see all of you guys there. Thank you so much to everyone on the production team. Ben, Ava, Pop-Tarts, Elijah, Jason, Sam. And thank you to you, Lash. You were amazing this broadcast. We had such a fun time, and I'm excited to do it all again tomorrow.
I'm absolutely pumped up for tomorrow as well. Y'all heard her. And so, Apples, this is going to be it from us here today at the desk. So, until tomorrow, Fortnite fam, we'll see you out there on the Battle Bus. Beep, beep.
Beep, beep.